Hello, and welcome aboard WhalePod to the bonus episode of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. No, the series is not over yet. We are going to be covering post-game, and post-game will pick up with episode 103, where the main story left off at 102. There are just a few things about the ending and the structure of Ionios that I do want to talk about with you here before proceeding further. However, this video will contain spoilers for the entirety of the Xenoblade series, all three numbered games and Xenoblade Chronicles X. So, if you have not played any or all of those games and do not wish to be spoiled on any of their details, then please click off this video now and come back when you have played those games and it will not be spoiled. I will give you until the count of 5 in order to click off this video in order to avoid spoilers, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I'm going to assume, if you're still watching, that you have either played all three numbered Xenoblade games and Xenoblade Chronicles X, or do not care about whether or not you are spoiled to some details of these games. So for this, we will be rewatching the ending cutscene, and I will be pausing it at certain points in order to discuss certain topics I have drawn up to discuss. Without any further ado, let's get into Epilogue Time Moves Again once again.
What power? Crazy! This is the force of people's will!
You taking the mick? It's terrifying. Not knowing how tomorrow will turn out. How you will.
But still, you can't just hold it in place. If you did that, you'd never change. You can't change the world like that.
That's why I want to move on. We'll claim the future and shape it ourselves.
And when you cannot choose, what then? In that desperate moment, who will be there to soothe you?
And we have reached our first pause point for our first couple of points I would like to talk about. First, starting off with who was Zed? Well, in order to understand exactly who Zed is and what Zed represents within the world of Ionios, we need to realize that Xeno as a whole, not just Xenoblade, Xenogears, and Xenosaga, also shared similar properties story-wise with Xenoblade Chronicles, is that Xeno games have a lot, and I mean a lot, of Christian ideology in them. Zed here, I believe, is supposed to be the devil. Zed is a disembodied entity that embodies people's fear, despair, and other negative emotions. Zed also proclaims himself to be the ruler of this world, which throughout the Bible, the devil is often referred to as the ruler of the earth, drawing parallels there, as well as Zed cannot force anyone to become a Mobius. You have to agree to Zed's terms and conditions, sort of like how the devil himself cannot force mankind to give in to temptation and commit sinful acts against their own will. The devil only has power over men in Christian lore when the devil is expressly given that power. So, with similar Christian ideologies popping up in Xenoblade games in the past, such as the two main aegises of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, respectively representing the concept of the Christ and the Antichrist, the Savior and the Destroyer, it seems fair that Zed, this entity that preys upon the fear and despair of others in order to perpetuate its own existence through the endless now, is a direct reference to the Judeo-Christian devil. Similarly to the Judeo-Christian devil who throws stumbling blocks in mankind's way to keep them from progressing through life as the Judeo-Christian God wishes them to do, Zed wishes for a more literal sense of stasis in creating the endless now. Also, Zed does have a few parallels here between a character from Xenoblade Chronicles, while all of us, who watched the trailers, when we first started seeing the trailers, if we'd played Xenoblade Chronicles, a few of us would have immediately jumped to the conclusion of, oh no, the bad guy's going to be an evil Alvis, isn't it? Well, Zed is not Alvis. Zed is not an evil Alvis. Zed is the darkness that lurks within the hearts of those whose souls were uploaded into Origin, but Zed and Alvis do serve similar purposes, in that they are both essentially the main central intelligence controlling their various universes. So while they are not the same person, they ended up having similar roles in their universes, even if Zed's goals and Alvis's goals could not be further apart from each other. Now, back to the scene.
The self is all that exists. As such, the only cure for despair is total oblivion. That is the face of the world. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. This rotten world. I loathe it.
Lieutenant, what's that light?
It's coming from inside Origin. No, the cries of Mobius. But the sheer ferocity of it. Noah. Mio. So he didn't disappear back then?
Mm-mm. They were inside, with us. Think about it. They're still really the same people.
We were conceived from regret. Sorry. Unlike you, who sprung forth from hope, regret is our be-all and end-all. If only we'd made the right choice. If only things had been different.
Blindly, we never tried to change ourselves, wishing only that the world would instead. We clung to the egotistical dream of being together forever. But that's only natural. Anyone would wish for that. Nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you. But now, our prolonged existence here, it only serves to strengthen those within this frozen moment in time, who would keep it thus.
So you see, we have but one choice here.
And here we reach my second point I want to talk about, and that is, once again, well, why M and N had to die here. M and N had already succumbed to Mobius's power and become Mobius themselves. In order for, as they said, the world to move on and Zed to truly be destroyed, all Mobius had to go as well. Which unfortunately also means rip Triton. Rest in peace, Cap'n. And it also brings me to another point. The English alphabet, which Xenoblade Chronicles 3 uses to label its Mobius, has 26 letters in it, and throughout the course of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, we fight and either recruit or eliminate 25 of them. Mobius B is the console for Colony 9. Mobius C is Chris, the Kavesi Castle's main console aside from N. D is Black Blaze Dirk, Mr. Wild Ride himself. E was the console for Colony Iota. F is the only one who died who we did not personally kill. He fell a victim to Sagiri in her recruitment quest. G was... oh yes, he was Colony Gamma's console. H was fought during Alanza's Ascension quest, as she was the console for the hand-picked colony that Garvel and company were reborn into. I was, of course, Irma. J was Yorin. K was our first ever confirmed kill on Mobius all the way back in Colony 4. L, I did not believe we had fought before, but turns out we had. Consul L was actually fought alongside, well, Mobius L was fought alongside Consul X during Uni's story quest. Well, Ascension quest. While X escaped unscathed from that encounter, L bit the dust there and took a big L. M and N are, of course, Mio and Noah. O and P were the not at all OP Mobius Interlink boss fight after the Ethel Kamaravi Peerless Veronis' fight. Q was Consul of Colony 30, who was defeated in Valdi's recruitment quest and eliminated in Alexandria's Ascension quest. Consul R, and I'm trying to remember where R was. There are a lot of, oh yeah, R was Colony 11's consul. S was, of course, Sussy Shania. T is, of course, Captain Triton. U appeared in Juniper's Ascension quest. V appeared in Tyon's Ascension quest. W appeared in Ashira's Ascension quest. X and Y were both fought and defeated on board Origin, with X having her first fight in Uni's Ascension quest, and Y having his first fight in Mio's. And of course, Z was fought aboard Origin. If you noticed, I did not start with A, but with B. That is because Mobius A was never encountered or fought, if Mobius A exists at all. But we're going to leave that here for now and just state that in order for Mobius to truly be defeated, M and N had to sacrifice themselves here.
Stop it! N! M! Don't do it! We'll think of a way to deal with Mobius!
What you see over there is not Zed or Mobius, but a single, intense desire. Your thoughts, they can never affect a desire. But we who embody that very same desire.
You can just stay here! Please, stay! Walk this world with us! We can walk it together!
Noah's right. You've done enough. You don't have to do this. You could finally be here together.
Such kindness. Your eyes, they brim with it. I ask myself, were our eyes the same on that day? And... No. Mia. Though we came from different worlds, we were able to leave a life behind.
It was a hope for the future. Our hearts and our dreams intertwined, and we were given the chance to weave new life. And therefore, it's all good.
believe in yourselves, all of you will certainly reach heights that we were unable to. You guys can surely make it.
You can take our place in the future.
Zed and the other Mobius, they wanted to protect the world too.
That's why they created one they could control. I see where they were coming from.
That's something that we feel almost every day.
Having to change. To continue to change. That's sparking scary.
But we can say this. Even if we are reborn later, right then, what we think and feel that moment is real. To sacrifice that is never the right way.
If you can't be true to yourself, then you're doing something wrong.
Are you content with your decision?
Very soon, the stilled flow of time will restart. You can change your mind if you act now.
You did not just tell us to become Mobius.
Yeah, can you even imagine?
Noah?
Why are you wavering, Noah?
Some want to go on, and some want to stay. In this world, there are so many mingled desires. But does anyone have the right to choose?
Oh, don't you start minding us now. Just having the chance to be born in that world you make, that'll be plenty. So, you know, you just gotta do it your way.
Gondor.
Though if I can, I might want a better name, eh?
And here's the next point I want to talk about is what happens to the city people when Origin activates, because, well, the city are the descendants of the first people to escape the Mobius cycle within Ionios. As such, they were not alive at the time that everyone's souls were recorded into Origin before the beginning of the game. However, that was briefly and vaguely explained by Melia in the Eternal Prison aboard Origin, that because they were born from those recorded in Origin, they are also recorded in Origin. And though they will not be recreated when the worlds are recreated separately by Origin, they will have the potential to be born again should the two worlds converge and the same couples start pairing off. And also on that matter, related to the city, I also want to discuss the possibility it is heavily implied in the game that Shulk and Rex, the protagonists of Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, were either mentors to or part of the 6 founders of the original city. Meaning they were somehow brought out of Origin. I do not believe anyone who would have been older than about 20 at the time Mobius took control would have been thrown into the flame clock system of death and rebirth. But I do believe that somehow, maybe through some act of sabotage by Queen Melia and Queen Nia, Rex, Shulk, and maybe a few others would have been able to be incarnated into Ionios to attempt to fight against Mobius. However, they would have either been killed by Mobius or lived out a long natural life and died of natural causes in Ionios. So a lot of people might be wondering if we ever get anything further down the line continuity-wise after the defeat of Mobius and reactivation of Origin, would Shulk and Rex be around? And I'm also going to say, yes, they would. They could be city founders and still be dead in Ionios, but with their souls recorded in Origin when Origin reset the two worlds to their previous states and put them off their collision course, the Shulk and Rex would be recreated exactly as they were before Origin activated. And now, let's continue onward and look for more places to discuss.
Noah, all of us here want the same thing. It's how the future should be.
Yeah, you're right.
The future is right there. Believe in the actions you've taken, in your friends. And above all, you should believe in yourselves.
Well then, the answer's simple.
And we're going to pause it here again for a little bit of discussion about Origin. This is a bit where the Xenoblade Chronicles X potential spoilers are going to get brought up here. Well, what exactly is Origin? Well, the basic gist of it is something that uploads the very souls of the inhabitants of two vastly differing worlds that are on a collision course set to annihilate each other in order to trigger a rebirth and recreation event immediately after the destruction takes place. This mirrors Xenoblade Chronicles X's Lifehold, which was designed as a more space-efficient way to get many more people, plants and animals off planet Earth before its destruction at the hands of two warring alien factions. It is revealed late into the story, though, that it is not the physical bodies of the crew members and others brought along for the journey that reside within the Lifehold, but is instead the DNA needed to reconstruct all life that once appeared on Earth, as well as the consciousnesses of, I want to say, roughly 10 million humans uploaded into the Lifehold's computers. Similar to how Origin is not some arc meant to protect the actual physical bodies from destruction, but merely a means to recreate the worlds afterward and use the stored souls of the passengers on board to recreate all the people that existed at the point of annihilation in the exact positioning and point in time they were in when the annihilation occurred. Moving from that into annihilation, so then what is the annihilation effect and why are these worlds annihilating each other to begin with? For that, we need to understand a bit of the concept of antimatter. Antimatter is a concept in science that refers to matter with reverse charges to the matter that makes up our universe. For instance, the matter in our universe is made up of protons, which possess a positive charge, and electrons, which possess negative charges. An antimatter particle is instead made up of antiprotons, which contain negative charges, and antielectrons, which contain positive charges. When matter and antimatter do collide, we know this because we have been able to synthesize very small amounts of antimatter in controlled lab environments. They annihilate each other violently. Safe enough to say that if we somehow manage to generate enough antimatter to create an explosive device the size of either of the two atomic bombs that have been used in warfare, the resulting explosion would theoretically be magnitudes larger than either of those explosions. It is safe to theorize that the annihilation effect is what happens when there's a, you could say, sort of glitch in the endless now, which causes time to restart in small portions of Ionios, causing small portions of Allrest and Bionis to come into contact with each other and annihilate each other, because one world is made from matter and the other from antimatter. As to which worlds that is, I do believe it is that Allrest is formed from matter, because Allrest is in fact just a version of our world far into the future, and that it is the world of Bionis, the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 timeline, that is the quote-quote antimatter world. So what is the black fog, and how does it relate to the annihilation effect? Well, the best instance that I can give of that is that high quantities of black fog in one area is what causes this temporary glitch in the endless now, which causes these annihilation events. And it's drawn, as we can see, from when O and P went past their interlink timer, and from when Lanz and Senna attempted to go past their interlink timer. It appears to be drawn to places in Ionios where Keves and Agnes are getting a little too close for comfort, and theoretically should have annihilated already. I think there's one more bullet point I have here. Unlike most of my videos, which are unscripted, I do have a little list of talking points I want to cover in here. Yes. I guess I have actually covered all I wanted to talk here. Origin's relation to the Life Hold did play in very heavily to the bullet point, just Origin's purpose. So we're going to wake up our switch and continue on with the cutscene.
Noah, come on! Ain't got all day.
Yeah, I know.
Oh wait, there was one more for Origin activates that I did forget to say back there, and that is why Ionios floats and why the broken bits and pieces, visibly not connected to anything, don't fall after an annihilation event severs them from their anchors into the, well, into the world. That would also be related to the Endless Now, and how the Endless Now is basically freezing one moment in time and stretching it out into an eternity. Ionios is in the sky, but it is, well, it's not floating. It's falling, but because time is not moving, we're not seeing it fall. It's not actually moving down closer to the endless ocean we see behind Noah right now. It is just hovering there. And by that same principle, when an annihilation event occurs, the broken off pieces don't fall either, because time is still not flowing for Ionios as a whole, because if time was flowing, everything would be annihilating like in annihilation events. We do see in the big opening annihilation event where we see where Uriah gets its weight loss surgery there, we do see a little bit of material begin to fall, and I do attribute this to the whole it being a glitch in the endless now, causing time to momentarily start flowing again, so a little bit of the Orion Titan would fall away before the Endless Now kicks in full again and does freeze all those bits and pieces floating in midair. Now, back to the cutscene for real this time.
Right with you. I realized there's something I haven't said yet.
Oh, yeah?
I haven't thanked you.
What's this now?
Thank you for sticking with me. Without you by my side, I'd never have made it here.
Oh, come on. You had to say that?
I'm serious here.
I know you are.
Huh?
Listen, Noah, I feel just the same. Without you, I think my wishes would never have come true.
I see. I guess so.
So I'll say it too. Thank you, Noah. Truly.
We weren't half bad as a team, were we?
Yeah, passable, for sure.
Just passable. I'm sure you meant unsurpassable, right?
Oh, I think I'll let you decide the passing grade, Lancey.
Ah, come on, weirdo.
Guess we won't be working out together anymore.
Yeah. I'm not keeping tabs, but don't you slack off.
I am not gonna slack off. I'll train every day, thinking of you.
Yeah. Same here.
Here,
What's this?
a herbal tea recipe. You have to dry your own leaves. You should manage.
Isn't this kind of pointless?
Pointless?
I mean, if the worlds are gonna drift apart again, this paper won't last.
I considered that, of course. The paper and the ink, it all comes from your world.
And the leaves for the tea? Even those and all?
What do you think?
We'll check you out.
Who am I if not scrupulous?
Who? Well, you're my best bud. Both best, to be exact.
Only fourth? Huh. Wait a minute. There's Noah and Lance. Did she count Joran? Oh, why am I only listing guys? Just chill out, Tyon.
What's up? Is there a problem?
At least put me second or even third. Fourth seems a little harsh.
I'll think about it.
Banana!
It is time.
Guess this is goodbye.
Yeah. Still, even if we're worlds apart, I swear I won't.
I won't let go. Not ever. I'll always be with you. Our feelings forever interlinked.
Wherever we are.
Yeah. Wherever we are.
And this is the first confirmed kiss between two main party members in a Xenoblade Chronicles game. I'm just pointing that out because, well, some people might say, oh, no, Whale, you're wrong. The first confirmed kiss was with Shulk and Fiora on the Fallen Arm in Xenoblade Chronicles. But that wasn't really a kiss. That was just Fiora tricking Shulk into spitting water from his mouth into her mouth. And, well, This is a good step forward for main girls in a Xenoblade game. Mio, congratulations. You're doing better than poor Melia and poor Nia did in the whole getting the guy category of things. That's all I wanted to say about that. Let's get back to the cutscene.
Our worlds in their current states are still young. If in passing, they do themselves harm, I suppose, even then they cannot but carry on.
Still, I have faith. Even if now we become separated for a time, one day we'll surely get to walk hand in hand again.
Everyone.
I was a little late pausing there, but that red techie looking sword there is the Monado, the replica Monado EX Plus from Xenoblade Chronicles' future connected epilogue that was added with Definitive Edition. The Monado or Rex Plus, as it is referred to as, is Shulk's ultimate weapon that he crafts for himself after the end of Xenoblade Chronicles, when the Monado 3, along with Maneth's Monado and Zanza's Monado, all disappear to create his new world. It is a quite powerful weapon already at the start of Future Connected's campaign, but needs to be powered up even further in order to defeat its final enemy, a beast formed from, you guessed it, black fog. As such, it's only natural that Melia would have used the Monado Rex in some capacity for powering Origin, or and later as sort of a similar purpose to the information processing unit in the Cloud Keep for Queen Nia. She did say she was watching us through the eyes of her puppet, but I do believe she was actually watching us through feed sent back from the Monado Rex.
Thank you.
And speak of the devil with the information processing unit in the Cloud Keep. The information processing unit in the Cloud Keep that was feeding information into Nia was, in fact, Poppy, a character from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and a very unusual one at that, due to Poppy's nature as being a wholly artificial blade. As Poppy is artificial, she is able to outlast her driver's lifespan without returning to a core crystal, as she was not born from one and does not have one. She is essentially Xenoblade Chronicles 2's equivalent of Xenoblade Chronicles' replica Monado. The Monado was a divine sword, or supposedly divine sword, really ended up being a supercomputer who liked hanging out in the shape of a sword, and distributing random god powers to people who walk by and decide to pick it up. And those peasants were always going off on some crap about saying, oh, strange women lying around in pods distributing swords was no basis for a system of government. Well, look at them now. Poppy is one of the greatest creations of the Nopon mechanic Tora, and Tora is also heavily implied to be the Nopon engineer who assisted Nia with building the Alrestian half of Origin. And now that we know who Poppy is, let's continue on.
I will see you soon then.
I see you peacefully. You're in your dreams. Everything seems calm and free. I know if we want this world.
You know, I think I missed something, so we're going to pause the recording, and I'm actually going to restart this cutscene to make sure I don't miss it again. We'll be back when I am back to what I missed. And yes, I did indeed miss it like a big dum-dum. I am way more excited about this one photograph here than I really should be. First of all, it does show off Tora and Poppy once again. But let's get right into the more bullet points than I think I should have for this photo here. Here we see Rex with his 3 wives and what I am now going to be calling the half-triplets, as each of those babies looks to be roughly around the same age, maybe pretty close to newborns there. They all look like they have the same father due to their face shape, but they do have their mother's hair color, with the baby Mithra is holding having her blonde hair, Pyra's baby having a shade of red hair, and Nia's baby having silver hair and cat ears. And based on the similarities between Nia's core crystal and Mio's core crystal that we have already seen in-game, I'm saying right here and right now, Mio is Rex and Nia's daughter, canon confirmed by this photo here. Also, I do applaud Monolith Soft for their refusal to take a side in the eternal Pyra and Mithra versus Nia debate as to who Rex ends up with at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and just says F it, he Fs all 3 of them. Rex harem canon and nuclear war between the Pyra Mithra shippers and the Nia shippers averted, all in one photo here. I do find it a little bit disappointing there that Dromark, Nia's primary blade in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and our big white kitty friend to the stage left of Nia there in that photo, is not present in any way, shape, or form in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It would have been very fitting to have a mysterious 4-legged boss at the entrance to the Cloud Keep that had been, say, protecting it from passing colonies and Mobius over the millennia, and have that protector be revealed after the fight to have been Dromark, watching over his lady as she slumbers within. Certainly a better cop-out than just, oh, it's invisible. Mobius can't see it, herder. And the last thing I do want to talk about here is the potential parentage of the other Agnian party members. As you can see there, Brigid, the blue-haired woman with the fire effects to her, directly to the stage, stage right of Rex. Yeah, stage right is audience left, so that's stage right. It does appear to have a lot of physical similarities to Senna. That character there is Brigid. She is a blade in the world of All Rest, and she does have a canonical romance with another blade in, well, that's at least very heavily implied in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I'm saying now that Senna is Brigid and Aegean's kid, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Taion is Zeke and Pandoria's kid. Or maybe grandkid, I don't know. Zeke and Pandoria are the older ones of the group. They might be the only ones in the group to have a grandkid. And Zeke and Pandoria's kid may have had a Leftherian partner, which Leftherians are darker skinned in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which would give, well, the reason why I'm saying Zeke and Taion is Taion definitely has Pandoria's hair. Even if not the same color, he definitely has the style. And even if we can't see any core crystal in his default outfit, the upcoming swimsuits for the second wave of DLC have confirmed Taion does have a core crystal. So Taion's the biggest stretch, and if not, like, some relation to Zeke and Pandoria, I'm gonna guess, well, I don't know who. We will discuss the parentage of the Kavesi 3 a little bit later. I just wanted to stop here and talk about all the wonderful things in this photograph here before continuing onward.
I will see you soon then.
Oh, here's a much clearer shot of being able to see the 3 different hair colors on the babies. as well as the cat ears on what I'm now calling a little Mio. Trying to determine who the other two kids might be, though, I don't have a clue. Although they will have been cycled into Ionios because they're literally the same age as Mio, or right around the same age as Mio. Once again, I am calling them the half-triplets, born around the same time to 3 different women, but with the same father.
I see you peacefully, you're in your dreams. Everything seems calm and free. I know if we want this warmth to last forever again, let's go back to that moment of death. I see you smiling there, so peacefully and cheerfully talking at me. These happy days must carry on. So once again, let's go back to the start. This goodbye is not the end. I know until we meet again, our feelings will remain the same. Together as one till we find ourselves
One day,
again.
I'll come see you.
This is absolutely heartbreaking. Why did they have to do this to us? Riku and Manana are the worst as far as breaking my heart goes. But Noah and Mio are a close second.
I promise.
Me too! One day! I promise!
This is the truth of our world. Memories melt in the morning light, and then a new day begins. Roads stretch out before us. So many paths. Which do you choose? That's up to you. Sometimes you might run astray. You'll stop, maybe cry in frustration. But you know, that's all right. For the roads, they go on without end. So look up, face forward, toward your chosen horizon. And just walk on.
Oh, we are going to watch a little bit of the credits here. Well, not really watch. There is one more thing I do want to do here, and we will pause when we get down to that in the English voice cast credits here. All right, we're going to stop things here for now. Other than unfortunate that Best Girl Ethel's VA, Lucy Doyle, is being Mike Wazowski'd something fiercely by the little paused notification there. Even though it doesn't show N, M, Noah, and Mio as 4 distinctive voice cast options, back when the trailers were coming out, I was a little bit worried for some of our returning characters, because for some reason I thought that Noah's VA, Harry McIntyre, was sounding a bit like Adam Howden, Shulk's voice actor, when he was doing his Console N voice. And that led me for a time to believe that of Zed, the big boss, was actually going to somehow be another reincarnation of a different character, well, two different characters rolled back into one, also voiced by Adam Howden, that being Klaus, aka Zanza, which I did theorize for most of this game, pretty much right up until we started learning more about who Zed was for real. Theorized that Zed was Zanza somehow, reasserting his will to control the world of his former subjects, but it does appear that Zed is just his own unique thing. We will unpause and let a little further down, so we can have Zed's VA popping up on screen. Yes, Harry Lloyd is not Adam Howden, so Zed is, in my opinion, confirmed not Zanza. Now with that, I am going to cut the rest of these credits out, and we will be back when we are at the post-credits sequence, or at least towards the end of the credits. I will see you then. And now we just need to give one last massive thank you to Takahashi himself, the GOAT of the Xenoblade series, the man who without whom this series would not exist at all. So thank you once again, Takahashi, for having such a wonderful mind for storytelling.
Oh.
Noah! What are you doing, man? They'll start the fireworks without us.
Get a move on already, or all the good spots will be taken.
Exactly, so come on, move it!
Sorry, I zoned out for a sec. I'm coming.
And for the eagle-eyed amongst us there, as those pigeons so rudely flew by, Noah straight up vanished. No, that is not a glitch in the cutscene. This is pre-rendered. It's not due to the Switch's hardware being already last gen when it was released. This, I believe, is implied that Noah somehow found his way to the other world. But moving on from that, let's start with the parentage of some of the party members here. I am going to go straight out here and say that I do believe most of the Kavesi party members are not descended or the children of anyone we know directly from Xenoblade Chronicles. It's pretty darn obvious that Chris, who Noah looked up to as an Offseer, and I believe also looked up to in the world before the Endless now, is the son of Shulk and Fiora. And I do still stand by my belief that Lanz, in particular, is related to Dunban. How is Lanz related to Dunban? Well, with the Dunban being a Homs and Lanz being a Machina, well, I like to ship Vinea, one of the main leaders of the Machina from Xenoblade Chronicles, the sister of Egil, leader of Mechonis, daughter of Mikkel, our big mad lad Machina elder. I have always liked the pairing of Dunban and Vinea, so that is my headcanon until proven otherwise. That Lanz is Dunban and Vinea's kid. As for Uni, I do believe that she might end up actually being somewhat related to Charla, one of the party members from Xenoblade Chronicles, while I do not believe that she is Charla's daughter, because it's implied pretty darn heavily that Charla and Rhine are a couple at the end of the first game. So I'm going to say that Uni is probably Rhine and Sharla's niece. Through, you guessed it, Juju. Sharla is a very annoying, worst character in Xenoblade Chronicles' younger brother. Another potential option for that is that Uni is Tyrea's daughter. Tyrea being essentially the half-sister, but not really half-sister, because yes, Tyrea's mother was the Empress, but Tyrea's mother is not Melia's mother, and Melia's father is not Tyrea's father. So, I guess sort of step-siblings, but Tyrea ends up as Melia's personal guard / retainer at the end of Future Connected. So it is possible that she ended up getting busy with a Homs man and had Uni. I do not know where the heck Yorin came from. My main guesses would actually be based on hair color, and no one in Xenoblade Chronicles had Yorin's hair color, so there's no obvious parent flag for Yorin there. Noah, honestly, he could also be related to Dunban if he didn't get the Machina genes, or I don't know, maybe he's also Shulk and Fiora's kid, and he looks up to Chris because Chris is literally an older brother, and he has dark hair because, well, Fiora and Dunban are siblings with black hair and blonde hair, so it's not too out of the question. So Noah could be Shulk and Fiora's kid as well, but I doubt it. The other one I do want to talk about, though, is Ethel could actually be Princess in the world of Bionis. Melia is already stated in Xenoblade Chronicles to only be 20% Hyentia, and roughly 80% of her DNA is Homs. So it's very likely that one further generation of Melia, per se, having a kid with a full-blooded Homs would potentially produce a offspring that, while still having the silver hair characteristic of the Hyentia, the only characters in Xenoblade Chronicles who had silver hair but were not old people were Hyentia, but not have the head wings because the genetics are just that diluted. Now, moving on from the parentages, we, if you notice, are literally right back to where we were in the opening cutscene after time starts flowing again. So the real question here is, was Ionios all a dream? I'm going to say no. No, it was not all a dream. These events actually happened. The party members actually met, actually interacted. And even if Noah doesn't remember exactly what happened, he does at least have enough memory from Ionios to recognize the sound of Mio's flute and walking to that, and recognizing it and associating enough with something positive, something good, something that brings him feelings of happiness, that he walked towards it before disappearing behind the flock of pigeons flying by. Also, time frame wise, as when Xenoblade Chronicles 3 happens in regards to the end of Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, some information we actually know from the Japanese language versions of this beginning cutscene and ending cutscene is that the anniversary of Melia's that is being celebrated is in fact the anniversary of her ascension to the throne, which happened at the end of Future Connected, and is also stated as being her silver anniversary. Silver anniversaries, when it comes to a royalty's reign, usually means 25 years, so we can assume that Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the beginning of the Endless Now and the end of the Endless Now, happens roughly 25 years after the end of Future Connected, or 26 years after the end of both Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. More than enough time for there to be an entire generation of children and teenagers that were not around at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenoblade Chronicles 2, hence why, aside from Melia and Nia, every character, including all the named NPCs, are characters we have never seen before, as they are characters who were born after the ends of the first and second games. Now, the last couple things I have to discuss is with the whole Ionios was real, as Melia stated in Origin, and was not a dream, I'm going to say that there are 2, maybe as many as 5 people who will have perfect memories in these old worlds here of Ionios. Those being the 2 queens, Melia and Nia, as well as the 2 engineers who helped with the building of Origin, those being implied as Tora and Shulk, as well as perhaps Nia's husband, Rex. As such, I believe that if anyone was to have full memories of what happened during Ionios, it would be those 5 in order to sort of preserve the memory of the endless now that once was. And finally, we draw up on some discussion of what in the world could the 4th wave of DLC's expansion story possibly be. A lot of people are pointing to either the Founders or N and M's time before they became Mobius, but I feel like both of those would be unable to pull off this sort of ending on a high note, but not sort of fixing the problems that Torn of the Golden Country was able to give for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because at least in Torn of the Golden Country, Malos was, while not destroyed, he was defeated and presumed gone, so there was at least the somewhat happy ending there with the goal we set out to do at the start is completed. Certainly the goal of either of those campaign premises would be the same as the main story. Take down Mobius and put an end to the endless now. But as we know, they failed miserably. Zed was able to turn N to his side and used N to eradicate the first city, and by the fact that they're still fighting against Mobius endlessly over and over again, day in, day out, in the present day of Ionios, where we play the main game, it's obvious that the Founders' time period, rebuilding the city after N wiped it out, did not succeed either. So, my best guess for the extra bonus campaign is an epilogue set in the separate worlds of Allrest and Bionis, as it is pretty much stated by Nia's and Melia's statements as the worlds are beginning to drift apart again, that they may already be looking for a way to safely merge the 2 worlds together, so that the peoples who grew connected to each other during the time of Ionios can be reunited, and through that bring forth the people from the city who are recorded in Origin as they were born from people recorded in Origin, to be reborn into a stable, new world without Mobius. Now, who would the antagonist for this potential story be? Well, regardless of whether it is the epilogue story that I have proposed or the prologue story route that they may choose to go with, the main antagonist that either we see here in the epilogue or see in the prologue before Zed is revealed to the party as the true big bad will be Mobius A, the only Mobius letter not defeated in Ionios. As for party structure, I believe until the worlds are merged together again, we will have separate parties of 6 with no ability to interlink, consisting on the Keves side of Noah, Lanz, and Uni, with 3 characters who will become hero options once the worlds merge back together again, those being Yorin, Chris, and Ethel. Yorin and Chris were also not playable during the main game, as both of them were Mobius, and on the Agnes side of things, I do believe we will have, in addition to Tyon, Uni, and Mio, we will have the, well, a lot of people are saying that Kyrie, the girl from Colony Gamma who doesn't know directions at all, is the Yorin of the Agnes 3. I say nah, it's definitely Miyabi who's the Yorin over there. So, the heroes we get on the Agnes side will be Miyabi, as well as I'm predicting the other 2 members of the half-triplets, those being Pyra and Mithra's kids with Rex. I'm predicting that one of them will be a boy, but the other will be a girl, thus rounding it out to 6 boys, 6 girls between the Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 parties when they come together. With 4 boys and 2 girls on the Xenoblade 1 side of things, and 4 girls and 2 boys on the Xenoblade 2 side of things. But with that, I have been your Captain Whale. Thank you for watching this bonus episode. Wait, no. There is one more thing I want to discuss before we go into the outro, so scratch that little bit of the outro. I will say thank you for watching again, though. But the last thing I want to discuss is early on in my playthrough, I entertained the whole Ionios is Mira theory. And here I am to say, sorry X-fans, Ionios is not Mira. Ionios was something that never should have existed, and at the end of the game does not exist anymore, so it can't possibly be Mira. And with that, X will forever be a spin-off, except when things like the Lifehold are referenced through Origin. Now, the real outro. Once again, thank you so much for watching and for supporting this series, WhalePod. If you did like this video, make sure to like, comment, and sub to the channel if you have not done so already. All 3 of those help me out considerably and cost you only a few moments of your time. As always, if you do sub to the channel, make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all my latest uploads, whether they be Xenoblade, Genshin Impact, Temtem, or others. And with that all said and done, WhalePod, I hope you all are having fantastic days. I have been your Captain Whale, but until next time, this is goodbye.